Hey gang, welcome to another Bald Eagle fishing adventure. And today I'm answering some subs that have asked some questions about exactly how I tie the rope to my crab pots and how they are tied to the buoy. So I'm going to get a little bit more specific about that stuff on this segment. Because the last time I did a crab pot one, it was just kind of a generic overview of what I have done. So what we're going to do first is we're going to show how I tie the rope to the pots. Now, on these new pots that I have, these pots have three doors. One here, one over here, and one over here. In my opinion, if you have a crab pot that has three or more doors, I do believe that it is important to have the harness system like I have here. Okay, so you have these harnesses coming down to the crab pot. So when you pull the crab pot up, it keeps the crab pot a little bit more on the level side. And the reason for that is if I was to tie the rope, say to here, and you can do that, but with pots that have three or more doors, especially like some of the square pots that have four, if you tie it directly to the pot without a harness, there is a chance when you're pulling that pot up and it's coming up at an angle, one of those doors could be open and you're going to lose a fair amount of crab out the door. On the older style crab pots, the more commercial style pots that just have the two door, like my old black one I have down here, that just has two doors. You absolutely could just tie the main rope right to the pot itself and pull it up that way, as long as you have the door over here, the door over on this side, and you're pulling it up from here so that these doors are not pointing directly down. And you got to make sure too that when you attach the rope to the crab pot on something that's a two door, that you don't interfere with this door, because Fish and Game could have a problem with that if you have a main door like this one with the rotting rope that's attached here. You got to make sure that the rope to your crab pot is not going to interfere with that. So that's why I like the harness system. The harness, you don't really have to worry too much about it as long as you, like I have mine set up here, I have the harnesses, they're away from this main door, and it'll pull that pot directly straight up nice. Okay, so I'm going to go over how I attach my main rope to my harness. And there is a bazillion different ways that you can attach your rope as far as when knots are concerned. There is a ton of information on YouTube about it. I just do it kind of really old school. Mine is done with a fisherman's knot. If you want to come in with the video camera on this, I mean, you can see my knot system there. It's a basic old fisherman style knot. You can look up fisherman's knot, cinch knot, I believe, or clench knot, something of that sort. But there's a ton of knots. Any of those knots will work. The other thing I do is the tag end that comes up on my main rope here. I mean, this this old duct tape on here is pretty old now. It's probably 2 or 3 years old. Probably needs to be redone. But I always wrap my ends to the main line, the tag end, and it just adds a little more insurance policy to make sure that that tag end doesn't slip back down through here. But this has been a foolproof way of me attaching to my harness for many, many, many years of crabbing. So this works really, really well for me. So that pretty much is the line going to the main pot. Now, coming to the floats, and this is really where I had more questions about how I was rigging my my buoys. So here's the main line, okay? And since I have all of my pots already rigged, I don't want to go through the process of untying this, but here's what you would want to do. So let's pretend that you don't have any buoys on your main line yet, okay? And this would be just your tag end right here. Pretend that these don't exist here, and you just have that. What you want to do is you want to make a big loop here, okay? And you want this loop to be, I mean, it's going to be fairly long. I measure mine out between 84 and 86 inches, meaning that from the loop end here on my right hand, Are you getting this too big? So up here from this end to where your first knot would be, and let's just say I was going to tie a knot like this right here. You want that to be 84 to 86 inches roughly. Okay, so let's just assume, again, don't these floats right here right now don't exist. So this would be just the tag end down here on my left hand, and you're going to make a knot right here. You just hand over hand, pretty much kind of a knot, just like that, and pull this whole thing through. Okay, just like that, and then cinch it down, and then do a second one. Once you've done that, then I'm going to show you how the floats work on mine. So let's get this untangled. Okay, so now you have that big loop that I just showed you. Should measure again between 84 and 86 inches from the top of the loop to the first knot. So this would be that first knot right here. Okay, here's your tag end. Here's that first knot, and I've got 2 knots attached here. And the reason I do that is just to make sure that this buoy isn't going to slide down that way, and it's firmly in place. And on the tag end, I do just like I showed on the crab pot. I put some duct tape around that. I like to use Gorilla duct tape. It just seems to has a little bit better glue to it and a little bit more durable. And I just like them because it's something really kind of nice to grab hold of instead of just grabbing hold of the rope. So once you have that first knot system in place, you slide, you shove that rope, you take that first loop end and you put it through this end of the float. And you do want it to be this end of the float, because when this is in the water, you want this contour of this float to be in the water like that, okay? Not this end in the water. So this contour shape of the float goes towards the basket, or to the crab pot. And then that sits in the water, similar to something of that degree. So if you could think about, it's going down in the water and the water's coming up to about here. I then take and I put 3 knots on this one. And the reason why this has 3 and this has 2 is this one isn't as significant. This one is, and here's the reason why. I have come across, when these buoys are sitting out in the ocean, you'll get seaweed breaks loose, especially with some big storms, just like the one we had. And sometimes they'll catch on these floats, and they can wrap down here on the bottom and put a lot of pressure on these pots. I have lost buoys and I have lost pots because this will slide out. And so you want to make sure that you get a nice old clump of knots up here. And that's why I do the double rope, because I'm doing 3 knots on top of each other, it puts such a clump of rope on that spot there, it's not going to allow this to come through. And then you have your red one. Here I do a single to a double knot on this, and then a double to a triple. Double seems to be, because these floats, these red ones, and you have to have these red ones. These are your indicator ones. This is by law. They have a smaller diameter opening up here. So a double knot on a doubled rope like this is never going to come through. You're never going to push that through. So even if this was to happen to come through this area here, it's going to collide into this red buoy. So this red buoy is going to hold everything that it needs to. And another thing that's important is from this buoy here to this buoy here, this distance here cannot be any greater than 36 inches. It has to be shorter than that. And mine are averaging somewhere around a couple of feet so 24 to 30 inches. I've done my measurements. I want to keep everybody happy out there, and I certainly don't want a ticket. So that's how I pretty much do it. I have my little loop up here. You can use a boat hook on this, but typically I'll just come in and grab with a boat hook right here, and that'll work perfect for me. one thing I also wanted to clarify is this main buoy must be at nothing smaller than 5 inches in diameter. So the circum around this way, and 11 inches top to bottom. These are one size bigger. These are 6 inches in diameter by 14 inches in length, and you can go even bigger than that. I did not read anywhere on the regs of it, if there was any size that was not that wasn't illegal as far as getting bigger. It just said your main buoy must be bigger than 5 inches by 11 inches. So 5 to 11 inches is the minimum size for your main buoy. On the smaller ones, they want them to be red, and they want them to be 3 inches in diameter by 5 inches in length. Okay, this one you must be this way. And here's something else that I want to make sure that all of my viewers and anybody that's going to be doing crabbing this year, and I find this offensive when you ask a professional, and I actually had someone tell me this, and I'm not going to give out names, I'm not going to say where I was told this, but I asked because years past I used to run two big ones like this and not the indicator, just two big floats like this one. And I asked him, I said, is it okay if I run an additional buoy along with the indicator? And I got the I think so. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not in the mood or in a place in my life where I need to be paying fines for somebody. I think so. And these were supposedly people that are supposed to know their you know what. So I'm telling you straight up, I have read these regs over and over and over. I've done my homework on it, and this is what I'm running, because this is actually pretty much what they're showing on the F&G site, the Fish and Game Wildlife site. And this is what I suggest that you probably do as well. If you want to go with a third buoy or something like that, that is your choice. But it does not say anywhere on the regs that you can have a third buoy. It just says pretty much these two types, okay? So, and I'm not going to give you I think. I would not ever want to do that. It's either I know or I don't know. That should be the answers, and it should be the answers from somebody that is a professional in the field. So, anyways, enough on that. I hope that this has answered all the questions that you guys have for attaching the rope system. Like I said, I wish I had one that was all broken down that I could have, started from scratch and showed you that way. But anyways, I think this will give you a pretty good idea. Again, from your tagline here, from your first knot to your tip here of the loop should be roughly 84 to 86 inches. That'll give you enough to make your knots and stuff and should have something ending up looking something similar to this right here. Okay, so I'm hopefully you're getting all the kind of knots that are in place here, and that's about it, guys. Listen, I really wish you all the best. I hope you have a great crab season. If there's any other questions that I can answer for you, I'll do so. If they're little minimal ones, I'm just gonna answer you as you guys send them to me. But this one, this really kind of required, I think, a video. I wanted to go a little bit more in depth, especially on these. This seemed to be the bigger question of it. And like I said, after the response I got from someone that I expected to get a better quality answer, and I got I think so. That's not going to happen here. I'm giving you what I really did read in the regs about 4 or 5 times reading the regs. So anyways, best of luck to all of you. God bless y'all, and be safe out there, and looking forward. I hope we get to start on November 6th. If you guys see me out there, even if you don't see me, give me a shout. I'm on Channel 9 out of Bodega. Lord willing, I'll have the radio, and I'll be out there fishing that Saturday morning for crab. Give me a shout. Love to say hi to you guys. God bless and take care.